like consulting, product management, analytics. So we are going to see a process, a structure to solve a case, and what would be a recruiter's expectation from you when when you're solving a case. So that will be your our objective of this particular session. I'll quickly tell you about myself, and then we'll directly jump to case. So my name is Alok Srivastav. I am co-founder of goCrackIt. I have around 18, 19 years of experience. I have done my MBA from IIM Bangalore, and then I joined PricewaterhouseCoopers. I manage multiple digital transformation projects in PwC for our Indian clients. And for last 8 years, I've been working with uh, you know um, goCrackIt, where I would have mentored more than 4,000, 5,000 students and working professional one-on-one basis, right? And I would like to connect all of you. You can connect on LinkedIn. And with that, I would directly jump to today's session, which is case. Let me share my screen. Let me know once you're able to see my screen. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of discuss, give you a couple of minutes context on case interviews, and then we will directly jump to case, the specific case. So a case interview is basically a business problem or situation which is given to you by the case interviewer in any interview, and the idea is to assess your problem solving skills. Generally, cases are given, the case statements which are given in the interview, right, would be very open ended, like my company is losing profitability, what should I do, and something like that, right? And they might be inspired by a real world situation which the interviewer might be handling or might be facing, right? And they just wanted to see how would you approach this point, right, or this particular problem. Why people ask case interview? Basically, they ask case interview because things are changing very fast at time. Society, technology, economy. So there's a lot of uncertainty, and you are faced with problems which are totally new. You have never faced those problems earlier. So how do you approach an uncertain problem? Is the kind of thing which they wanted to evaluate in the case interviews. They would measure these things in a case interview for you. One is your problem solving skill. How do you solve a problem? Your tolerance for ambiguity. When they give you an ambiguous problem, how do you behave? How do you tolerate that ambiguity and still structure your thoughts? And your communication skills that in that interview, in that ambiguity. Although, okay, you are nervous or you're not sure, but still you're communicating in a structured and logical way, is what they're looking at. They don't expect an answer to you. They expect a conversation from you. They expect a structure from you. They expect a good logical conversation communication from you. So that's what they basically they evaluate during a case interview, and it's very important that you keep in mind these things. Cases can be from any industry and any domain, right? Because they are not looking at you any industry or domain knowledge. They are looking at you how would you approach a problem, right? So don't worry if you don't know anything about that industry and domain. Let's say the industry is the aerospace industry, which you are not aware of, right? Then don't get nervous about it, right? You just okay, I will converse with my recruiter. I will have a discussion with my recruiter, and I will understand this problem, and I will try to solve it from the first principle, right? So you don't need to know a domain knowledge. Why I'm saying that, what happens when an interviewer asks you a case, and if you are not aware of the domain or industry or and the subject, you become very nervous and you give it away. So you are not expected to do that. You are expected to ask clarifying question. You are expected to ask clarifying question to understand the industry domain and the problem and try to solve it from the first principle. Let's try to understand all of these things with an example. So let's say this is your problem statement, that there is a company called Coca-Cola. Your client is Coca-Cola, and it wants to increase the price of its canned beverages. Like these canned beverages, and you need to understand everything, and you need to advise whether to increase the price or not. Right. So that's the problem statement. How would you approach this? Let's say this is a problem given to you. This is the problem given to you that Coca-Cola wants to increase the price of their canned beverages. You need to find out whether Coca-Cola should do it or should not do it. How would you approach this problem? Anyone? You can unmute and tell, or you can put it in the chat. Anyone? Anyone wants to take a shot at it? You can put it in the chat also, or you can unmute yourself and talk about it as well.
May I?
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
We'll consider many situations like what is the competition around and what is the demand of drinks and how much popularity does Coca-Cola hold. Thinking about all these situations, we'll consider and advise them whether we should increase it or not.
Okay, okay. Great. Good start, Manvi. Anyone else want to add or have a different point of view or have a different approach? Anyone? Okay. So the way a recruiter would expect you to solve this case is step by step, right? And the first step of what they expect you is to clarify the problem. To make sure to ask question, to make sure that you have understood the problem clearly, right? So you might come up with, think about this problem again and say, tell me what could be some of the clarifying question would you like to talk about for this case? Okay. So
Whether the sales,
it should consider the price of competition before the price consideration. Okay. Yeah, Manvi, go ahead.
the first thing we'll consider is whether the sales are increasing or declining.
Right. So you may ask some clarifying question, 3 to 4 to 5 clarifying questions from the recruiter to understand the problem clearly. So the most important question, what I would expect from you is why does it want to increase the price? What is the business objective? What is the trigger? Why does really want to increase the price? So let's say you give the objective that they want to increase the price because they wanted to improve their revenue. Okay, that is the idea, right? Then the second question would be, I mean, if they want to increase the price, do you have any number in mind? By how much you want to increase the price, right? Next is, have you changed anything in the product which might justify this price hike, or you just wanted to hike the price, or whether competitors have also changed the price, right, or something like that. So these are some of the questions you might ask. There is no specific question, I would say, which is no right question to ask. But these are some of the questions you may want to know before you really want to jump to any solution or any approach. So the first step is that Coca-Cola has given you a task that I want to increase the price. You think about it and you ask some clarifying question. And these could be some of the good clarifying questions. Why do you want to increase? By how much? Is there any change in the product? Or whether competitor has done something or anything else, right? Is there any trigger? Whatever you can come up with to really clarify the problem as clearly as possible. Now, in order to another step is objective. This is a very minor step. So you clarified it. The second step is objective. Understand from the recruiter that what he or she wants you to do in this case interview. So you want me to find out that whether should we increase the price or not. That's the objective. Any other objective you want me to do in this case. So you set the objective for yourself in the case. These are the two important steps which set the scope, which set the expectation from you, which gives you the clarity of the problem statement. The next step is structuring. You have to structure your approach. What approach? What approach? What approach will you take? What framework will you take to find out whether to increase price or not? Tell me. My question is, in order to evaluate whether to increase price of a product or not, what framework or what structure or what 2 to 3 factors would you look at? Think about 3 to 5 factors. Think about 3 to 5 factors which you might consider for evaluating whether you raise the price or not. Anyone? Anyone wants to say something on this? Yes, go ahead. Parth has said SWOT analysis. Okay. So what exactly? So the question is, how will you really use SWOT, for example, as Parth has mentioned, to really solve a case, solve to decide whether to do price increase or not. So your question should always be that this is how I will use strength, weakness, and opportunity and threat analysis to find out whether to increase the price. PC analysis. What is PC analysis? Right? I would suggest think about a framework which or create a framework which is easily understandable. So I'll give you a very simple framework for this problem. And again, when I say framework, it's not that you need to use a ready-made framework. You can create a framework during in the session. You can create the structure in the session in the interview and show it. So the structuring could be, what is the current revenue of this product? What is very important point? What would be the percentage of volume change due to price increase? Because see, whenever you increase any price, economically there will be a reduction or a change in the volume sold of any product. It might increase, it might decrease. Generally, it decreases for most of the product. What would be your future price, and hence what will be your final revenue? And then you'll compare current revenue and final revenue and see whether you should increase the price or not, because our objective is that we want to increase our revenue. Remember, we clarified, right? Why do we want to increase the price? Because ultimately company said, I want to increase the price because I wanted to increase my revenue. So you come up with a structure and a kind of framework to analyze this problem. Now you may ask some clarifying question. Okay, what is current revenue? Okay, can you tell me, is there any, and this is called elasticity. If you know this term, this is called elasticity. Elasticity of the demand, meaning what is the change in volume sold because the price has been changed, is called elasticity. So let's see. So let's say now till here, what is happening? You're structuring your thoughts. You're giving a framework. You're giving a structured answer in an ambiguous situation. Now recruiter may want to see your analytical skill, your data analysis skill. So he or she will give you some data. So let's see the data now. Let's say this is the data they have given. You need to calculate their current revenue. So what will be their current? So you need to first analyze this. So what you will see is that the percentage of volume change for a 10% change in price is minus 5%. Meaning, if you increase the price by 10%, the volume will drop to 5%. If you reduce the price by 10%, then the volume will go to 5%. Increase the 5%. In our case, we are increasing the price by 2 rupees. So what is the percentage? What is the percentage increase? It's 10%. So the current revenue, first let's calculate the current revenue. So the current revenue will be, this is the number of cans sold. Coca-Cola market share is 50%. So 1000 into 50% is the total cans they are selling, and their current price is 20. So 1000 into 50 into 20. Can you tell me what is their right now current revenue? Hence 1000, 50% and 20 is the input. What is their current revenue? 10,000 million, right? 10,000 million. I'll show you. 1000 million is the total cans sold. 50% is my market share, and the current price is 20 INR. So my current revenue is 1000. Can you tell me what will be my final revenue if I increase the price to 2 rupees? So my increase will be 22%, and because of this 10% increase in price, my volume sold will be minus 5%, reduced by 5%. Can you quickly think and tell me what could be, or what could be the formula to calculate the final revenue? And then I'll show you as well. Okay. this you need to be a bit more careful while you're calculating it. So let me kind of give you here only. So let's say, let me show you that calculation, and then I'll show you in the next this thing also. Next slide, as you can see, right now you're selling 1,000,000,000. Your this thing is 50%. When you increase your price to 22 rupees, it is 5% lesser. So 1,000 rupees, 1,000,000,000 will be multiplied by 95%, because now you are able to sold only 1,000 into 95%, because 5% has been reduced because of the 10% increase in the price. 50% is your market share, and your target, I mean the revised price is 22 rupees, not 20 rupees. So your solution will be 1,000 into 95% into 50% into 22. Everyone is clear with this calculation? Let me show you in the next slide. Everyone, are you clear with this, or do you want me to repeat this calculation? Right? So whatever that solution is, are you getting this number, or am I correct in this calculation? I mean, you can also challenge my calculation if I've done some mistake. 1,095% is the change in volume, right? Then your 22 rupees. Is it correct calculation? 1,050, 500, then 95%. I think it is correct calculation, right? So your future revenue is, yeah, that's what we have done. Yeah, good question, Anu. We have done that, right? 1,050%, and then we reduce it by 5%. So total sell now you're selling is 95%, not 5%. I mean, you're reduced. You're selling 100%. Now you're selling 1 minus 5%, which is 95%. Is it making sense? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let me know if I might have made a mistake, and that will be great if you have, if I made a mistake and you catch it. Even I'll learn a lot, right? So what, Anush, your question is right. You are selling initially this much money, this much value. Now it is reduced by 5%. So 95% is the total sell. So your sell earlier volume wise 500. Now it is reduced to 95%. But your price is increased by 22%. So your total revenue is coming out is 1040. So with this, what we see that your revenue is increasing by 4.5%. Your revenue is increasing by 4.5% if you increase the price to 2 rupees by 2 rupees, which is 10%. So in terms of sensitivity, what's happening is that for short term, we can increase the price and it will increase the revenue. So the next step is recommendation. You did the analysis. What analysis you have done? You are saying, ki, okay, boss, with increase in price, we are getting 4.5% higher revenue. But we need to also consider that when we decide the price, our competitor may also react to it. We need to analyze that also. And for making this price increase sustainable, we should also think in the long term. How should we change our product or packaging or something so that we can justify the price to attract the customer? Because if we just increase the price, we might get a good revenue in shorter term, in let's say next quarter. But what about next quarter when a competitor is also increasing their price? So that's the kind of discussion we should have with the recruiter. And then the recruiter might ask you a couple of more questions. Don't you think what kind of this thing and all those things? And then you have a logical discussion with the recruiter, and that's how you recommend. So this is a step-by-step process to solve any case. You clarify the problem, you set the objective, you put a framework, you structure to solve this problem, you show this is how I am going to solve the problem. You ask for data or recruiter gives you that data, and then you finally recommend your solution. See, the recruiter may ask you question like, don't you think, let's say so what happens what mistakes people do is, okay, there's an increase in revenue because of the change in price, so we should definitely change the price and increase the price. Then recruiter will ask you, okay, but don't you think if we just increase the price, a recruiter will also do that, and that it is not sustainable? Now, that's a cross question you might expect, and that you don't have to get worried about it. You need to take a step back and think logically. That is right, that if I increase the price, competitors can also increase the price. So what should I do? So then you think, okay, beyond the point, nobody can increase the price. And definitely when we are increasing price, we need to also position or market ourselves in such a way which shows that there is some value addition in the product, because of which we are increasing the price, or there is some more better positioning of this product or packaging of this product which we can justify to increase the price. Otherwise, why people will buy this, right? We need to give a justification in value term or in emotion term to justify our price to our customer, and which will also make a stronger relationship with our customer, which a competitor may not listing it, solve it, right? So that's how you need to answer. You don't have to get worried or scared by the interviewer question. You just have to think logically and answer it. Okay, is the final thing. So just to kind of summarize what we have done today, listen carefully, paraphrase your understanding of the problem. Do not jump to solve the problem. Any case, you don't want to jump to solve the problem. You want to ask clarifying question. You want to ask, clarify your objective. You want to give a proper structure or framework to solve this problem, and then only you want to come to a conclusion. And take interviews hint. Lot of time in a case interview, you will be stuck. You don't know what to do. Interview is here to help you. Converse with the interviewer. Think aloud if you can. If you're stuck, and recruiter will give you, or interviewer will give you hint. Just listen to those hint and work accordingly. It is okay to get stuck. Sometimes you may get stuck. It's okay, but do not give up. That's the last thing you want to do. This is a summary. How do you prepare? There's a book called The McKinsey Way. You can go to this website, goCrackIt.com/resources. You'll get this book. It's a 2 or 3 hours read. It's a great read. Understand some key framework, profitability, industry structure. So you go to this link and it will explain some frameworks. Know some macro numbers specifically for your guesstimates: population number, internet penetration, literacy rate, income distribution. This might be useful for your number crunching for any guesstimate. Form a group with 2 or 3 students or people and start practicing with them the cases. We have some courses or some preparation kits around guesstimate and cases. If you like, you can visit. You can take a screenshot of this and you can visit this. Maybe someone can give you the link also here, so you can go through that and kind of see if you want to do more. Right? Thank you so much. I mean, we can connect on LinkedIn if you want. I'm more than happy to connect with you, and we can take this conversation next time. So we'll be doing these sessions more often, right? So you're all welcome to connect, and thank you so much, guys. All the very best.
Thank you, everyone.
Feedback link, Suman.
I'm just sharing it here. I have shared it here, and also I'll be sharing in the WhatsApp.
Please give your feedback and give your suggestion on what all topics should we include, so that we can kind of we can work on it and we can have more topics around what you may want to know, and we can cover those topics in the coming workshops. Thank you so much. All the best.